All right. Hey, everybody. So got a different position, different setup this week, which hopefully will be good. But yeah, if you're just watching this now, basically I'm trying to do something new where I cut a little bit of time out of my day at the end of the week here to do a little bit of painting, a little bit of hobbying. So yeah, figured it's a nice opportunity for us to hang out too. So I was just over on the War Games Live stream watching that while I was getting some other work done, and I was like, man, I really wish I was playing a game right now. It's fun to hang out and chat with folks, but yeah, so here we are. Hey, Alexander. Looks like it's actually just you and me, so that's cool, right? It's like office hours. All right, so yeah, still working on my breachers here. Got a little bit of progress done. My kids have been really interested in painting lately, which is fun. So I actually have when they first came out with the breacher kit, I think it was, maybe it was a little bit after that, I don't know. At some point I was making breachers, and it's like, I only have 10 breachers, but I really need 12 in order to have a full-size unit, because back in the day, before breachers, when it was just strike teams, Fire Warriors could be in units of up to 12. And so I made a couple extra breachers next time I had a kit. I think actually, yeah, it was when it's at a time when strike teams were far superior to breachers, and so I made more strike team Fire Warriors, but then made a point to make a few extra breachers with that lot, and they immediately just kind of sat there unpainted because I did not need 12 breachers, right? so and of course, because of the way that breachers work, it just doesn't, right now you can only take them in units of 10, but before you could take them in smaller units, but you'd never really wanted to do that because of how, basically how they work, and the fact that you put them in the devilfish and everything like that. So so it's not like I would have smaller units, like let's say of 8, right? That I would need those 2 extra ones. And so I gave my kids those 2 extra breachers to paint. And they turned out pretty nice. So of course those breachers are based already. These ones are just like, I don't know, I am regretting not basing these before I started painting, but that's fine. Yeah, Kill team is tough, man. Really, the things that it's been a while since I played Kill Team, but from what I remember, the things you really want in Kill Team are the stealth suit and stuff. So, and Pathfinders. But yeah, they changed how that works, and I haven't played the 2nd edition of Kill Team yet. So maybe that's different now. I would show you my kit stuff, but it's upstairs. Yeah. So here, let's, because I'm like kind of hanging out on the corner of the screen here. I don't know how interesting that is. Here, I can pivot a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, my color scheme is Farsight. I've painted them as Farsight since they were released. And my, it wasn't something that I painted them because I like Farsight. It kind of happened the other way around, where I it was actually before I even had the codex. I was thinking about how I wanted to paint these guys because, gosh, I picked up a ethereal and the unit of fire warriors, and just trying to get some of this paint off because I'm not holding it as close to my face, so I'm being a little sloppy here. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I got when they came out, I picked up a unit of fire warriors, I picked up a ethereal, and I was thinking about what colors I wanted to paint them. And at the time, the only other army I had was wood elves, and my primary color for my wood elves were green, but I really liked incorporating red into them too. And so it's like I've been having fun painting red. Let's paint these guys red. I was trying to think about a color that would go with that I could easily paint, and went with gray. And and then it's like, oh, hey, there's this other crisis suit that they painted as red and gray. That's pretty cool. I guess I'll just follow that. And then, of course, that crisis suit was Farsight. So that was how that happened. Cool paint holder. Oh, this thing over here. Yeah. As you, I saw Eons of Battle just did like a video a few days ago about like the painting supplies that you should avoid, and I didn't catch the whole video. I should finish watching that, but one of on the thumbnail there's a picture of one of these things with a big X on it, so I wonder if he gets up there and says don't bother with one of those, because it probably is something like this where you have all the paint, you have the paint holder there, but then this situation I don't I actually have a full a larger stand that's just off camera here that I was very fortunate to get for my wife for Christmas, that I put together, but it of course I haven't actually put the paint on the thing yet. So that's the thing about the paint holder, right, is that you gotta put the paint back on it, and that's I tend to struggle with that sometimes. Yeah, I'm excited for Tau and 10th. I'm excited for 10th edition. There's a lot of rumors swirling around there about what 10th is going to look like, and I don't have a lot of confidence in any one of them being totally correct, but it certainly seems like there's going to be some shake up here in terms of how profiles work and everything like that, and that has me a little nervous. I don't really want to go back to Index Hammer again, because it just, well, for one thing, I love the current Tau codex, and I don't want that just getting erased by a codex, by a index, right? Like I don't want to do the thing that they did with 8th edition where all your books are totally irrelevant now. I'd like to get a little bit more use out of it, especially because I have like a Tyranid codex that I frankly haven't used yet, and of course that's on me. But it would be nice to play with the codex before a new edition comes out. Or I mean, even after a new edition comes out, right? I would like my current supplies to still be relevant. But I wouldn't be surprised if they end up being irrelevant because they do some big shakeup, like fundamentally changing how profiles work. I mean, when they did that with 8th edition, I think it was great. I really liked really like the changes from 7th to 8th. That was a huge boon. And Index Hammer was really fun for a time because kind of everybody was on the same wavelength. Because still everyone was trying to get used to the new system. No one had the new codex yet, all that stuff. And so I like that. I do, but it is also inconvenient at times. So something I'm trying to figure out. I've never, well, that's not true. I do have a Piranha where when I stepped away from 40K for a while in college. But then when I went into grad school, I went back and picked it up again. And when I did that, one of the first kits that I, purchased after my re-entry was a Piranha. And when I did that, I painted the gloves on the pilots different than the fatigues, right? Because they have the little armoring on their gloves, right? And I didn't really like how that looked. I thought it was a little busy. So I've never painted the gloves different than the rest of their fatigues since then. So all my Fire Warriors have brown gloves because their fatigues are brown. And I'm trying to elevate my paint jobs on these breachers a little bit. And so I think that's probably one thing that would do that, right, is making sure that that glove armor is picked out. So I'm debating about whether or not I want to actually do that. One of the things I was working on before the stream here, and if apologies if you were here at 10:30 waiting for me to get started. I pushed it back a little bit because I was trying to get a video out this week, and just with the storm that came through and the changes that makes to scheduling, I wasn't able to get the video out earlier this week, but I'm hoping to still get one out this afternoon on the Arks of Omen detachment and competitive list building in the Arks of Omen detachment framework. So I was trying to get a little bit more work done on that before starting the stream. Yeah. I feel like I probably should have the camera like standing right where these, right? It should be up here, so you see more like over here. Work in progress, folks. Still getting used to this whole thing, the streaming thing, with my new setup here. So maybe next time I'll do that instead, because I have a little a little phone tripod that the webcam was on before. That's too small. I have it on a normal, camera tripod. That's a little big. We'll work it out. I'll make it smaller and put it on the table, and it'll all work out. Yeah, I'm really, really excited that I'm able to prioritize the channel a little bit more, prioritize my hobby time a little bit more than I have in the past. I think that's just like I said last week, and for those of you that were here last week, apologies for the redundancy, but I think it's really good to just have some time to focus on something that's pretty therapeutic, I think, like painting. So yeah, like those dot cams, that would be nice. Yeah, maybe I should I don't know, at my old place, which my old place, I later found out that there was asbestos in the ceiling, so this wasn't a good thing to do. But I drilled a bunch of holes in the ceiling and put up all this lattice work for putting webcams up on the ceiling to do battle reports and stuff like that. And as longtime viewers know, that most of that didn't come into fruition because of the pandemic. It's kind of hard to use your home setup when you can't have people over to your home. So yeah, I did not get a lot of games in during that period, and didn't get to use the setup. And then I moved out of that place, of course. Yeah, it's kind of funny to go back, drive by the old place. The new owner was renovating that basement, and all the see all the like the random stuff that I had put up around, little kind of convenient things, just slabs of wood and hunks of metal that I used to hang stuff on or work on, and all that just sitting out in the garage, torn out. Yeah. I know, but so I mean, you can see him here, right? I'm working my way through 2 squads of breachers. I got most of I got 9, 10, 11, 12. This will be 13 here that have their, we did the zenithal, we did the overhead spray with a lighter color brown. So they're in good shape. I'm almost to the point of washing and highlighting. And of course, their heads are in a little dish up here behind Celestine. Their shoulder pads are in this. For airbrushing down here, I got one of those like spray tents, and then put it up against the window with a big box fan. But we just had a big storm, and my window is completely covered with snow. So I don't know if I'm going to open that anytime soon. I did not anticipate that being as big of a problem. I didn't think the window well would fill up with that much snow, but indeed it did. So I'm snowed in down here. Making any drones? Yeah, I got drones. The drones are sitting in what is that? That's Indomitus. I have a box from Indomitus that has all the stuff that's primed and waiting for attention in it. So the drones are all sitting in there. And there's drones from the breachers. There's drones from Pathfinders. Pathfinders are, when I'm done with these breachers, I'm going to move on to the kill team special Pathfinder unit, because I use that to make a bunch more. Use that to make all the specialists from the kill team box, because they look awesome, but also more rail rifles. Because the only rail rifles I had were the old metal ones. Those are great. I love those. But I haven't made any plastic ones yet. So I got some plastic rail rifles out of that. I had ion. All the plastic Pathfinder special weapons I have are ion rifles. So finally got some plastic rail rifles there, which will be exciting. Especially the specialist rail rifle dude. What is that? The heavy gunner or whatever. He looks that Pathfinder just looks awesome. I love that. I love that prototype rail rifle. It just looks cool, right? I should mention, if actually no, you haven't seen it yet. So the Arks of Omen video I'm working on right now is sponsored by a new Kickstarter called Voxlink. So I should mention that here, because but it's a new Kickstarter that launched just a couple days ago, and they got the idea is that it's a new app that helps you connect with other wargamers and find games and do other social media stuff, things like that. So it's kind of like all the social media tools that you use currently, including things like a little bit like BCP, all that in one. So yeah, they got a Kickstarter going on. It's called Voxlink again. Check it out. It's already well on its way to getting funded, which is good, encouraging. Yeah, that the Specialist Pathfinder is just nuts. Yeah, my my son was over here, down here yesterday with his buddy, and they came over. I have a display case with stuff that I've been working on in it, and it's like, hey, Dad, can we play with your guys? And no, it's like, and one of the things we probably before I had kids, I would think there'd be no way that I would let a child play with my models, but as a dad, there are more important things than whether or not a model breaks. So he and I play with them. We set them all up, and he moves them around, and we treat them a little bit more roughly than we probably would otherwise. But we do that, and that's fun. But I wasn't gonna just like let him and his buddy play unsupervised with all those things and have them disappear or whatever. So but yeah, my wife is down here with us. And he asked me, he's like, hey, Dad, can we play with you guys? I was like, it was a very fast no. But normally we do play with them. Just it's different when it's just him and I think. So yeah. Yeah, one of the nice things about getting older, I think there's certainly a cohort of us gamers here that are in stages of our lives where we have families, and I felt like that wasn't as much the case when I was younger, right? Like it's just different attitudes and different generations and stuff like that, right? And different interests, and as my group of players have aged, we've stuck with the hobby maybe a little bit more than earlier generations did, and so there's more of us with families that are doing this sort of thing, and it's nice to have that community, nice to have that level of understanding in the community in terms of like what's going on. Yeah, because when I was a young lad, I didn't have that understanding about what it meant, right? But the more people in the community that do, have families and commitments and stuff like that, it just seems like it just makes it a lot easier to be someone with those same commitments in that community and have that understanding. It's probably something that maybe I should maybe I should talk about that at some point in a video. Like, not really the normal thing that we do here, obviously, in terms of video subject matter, but maybe it'd be a nice kind of like, maybe I'll do that for Father's Day, right? But, yeah, just it's just something that I appreciate about the community that doesn't get a lot of attention, right? And a lot of folks, rightfully so, talk about how great this community can be. in terms of how welcoming and generous people can be with their time and attention. And so that's not to say that people don't say wonderful things about the community, but one of the wonderful things that people could say that I don't think they say as much as they could is just how nice it is to have that perspective well represented in the community too. Yeah. Yes. Yes, really all wargamers are obligated to reproduce in order to keep the community going, right? Like that's really the we should have unique kits so that you can have more players. I do joke that yeah, like that's one of the fun things about having kids is that you have people to play your games with. Because of course, as serious as folks take it, a lot of the stuff is originally more of a thing for kids, right? And that's okay. Listen, if there's people that can be diehard fans of Bluey, which is a kids animated series, it's okay for us to be fans of painting plastic soldiers and pushing them around a board. I do love me some Bluey though. That's some good stuff. All right. So new Arks Omen Tarot draft. Yeah. Right. The Lost Child. It has to be Lionel Johnson, right? It has to be the line, and even the way like the card, the tarot card is green, has a green hue to it. If you look at the baby, like his hair looks very very mane like in terms of I'm being very literal here, but right, if you look at kind of the way that lions were depicted in Renaissance art or something like that, it has that kind of feel to it. And even the cloth that he's sitting on kind of looks like a mane, right? I mean, that's kind of how tarot cards are, right? They're meant to be these. They meant to straddle the realms of being literal and being figurative. So I don't know. It just seems like lion-y things. I probably just made myself sound like a total idiot, but oh hey, Wedem, yeah, Wedem. Hey, I've been honestly, I've been sitting right here just without a camera. But seriously, no, I work is insanely busy, and I've had a bunch of other kind of stressors on my time that just totally took me away from the hobby for making videos. And I've kind of gone through an adjustment period here where I feel like I can spend a little bit more time on things, and if I'm realistic about production schedules and how much time I'm spending on things, being responsible with my time, but also giving myself an opportunity to I don't know, do some self-care, as some folks might say. I think I can get back in the game here. So yeah, so this is the second week we're doing this weekly hobby hangout thing. And I look forward to continuing to do it. It's generally going to be Friday afternoon, I think is probably a good bet, but maybe for scheduling purposes, maybe I'll shift it to Thursday. Maybe that would be a little bit better in terms of my schedule, but also what other folks are doing. I think probably Thursday stream might be. I don't know. What do you think? Those of you who are here, what do you think? Thursday or Friday this time? Which one works better for you? It's not exactly an unbiased sample considering you're all here right now, but worth asking anyway. These are legally binding responses, by the way. Hashtag, not legal advice, not financial advice, whatever. Yeah, right. Yeah, if you're watching the stream right now, either you're at work and your work doesn't impede your ability to watch a stream or have a stream on in the background, or you or you're not working or something, right? You're a student, perhaps. But yeah, like I some of the periods of time where my channel has grown the most is in the lead up to a new edition. And like when 8th edition came out, I did videos every single day because Games Workshop would release new information every single day. I would get up there and I'd make a video. And of course that was before I had kids. That was when I was, where was I? I was I might have actually been unemployed at that point. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, so the ability for me to do that, to be young again, right? So I don't know if with 10th edition I'm going to have that same pace of upload as I did with when 8th edition was being announced, but still we'll try to do some of that major stuff again, because that's just, for one thing, it's just fun to talk about, right? Like, hey, we have a little glimpse behind the curtain here. Let's talk about what differences that sliver of information is going to make. That's just fun stuff to talk about. I'll have a video here coming up talking about our new Arks Omen book, the Farsight book, I'll talk about that when that gets actually announced, but we're going to talk about it based on other existing information soon. I think that'll be next week. If not, it'll be the week after. Oh yeah, so personal experiences with gaming in official GW stores. I've only official GW stores. I've only done it once, and it was fine. Like it's cramped, awkward kind of thing, but fun. It's still a game. Kind of cool to be in the official spot. But most of my experiences playing in stores is not Games Workshop stores, right? So those FLGSs that really are the backbone of our community. The first store that I ever played a game at was when I was a kid. When I had just started, I don't know how old I was. It's like 7th grade, 8th grade, maybe. It was a store that actually specialized in disc golf and kites and yo-yos and that sort of thing. It was called Air Traffic. Still exists, but they're out of the hobby game. But we would go there, and just like me and my buddies would go there, and sometimes we would play against each other, but otherwise we just hang out, which it really wasn't a store that you'd that kind of hobby store, right? Like it was not like very it was much more retail focused, right? It was in a mall and stuff like that. So you could hang out in the mall, but we didn't want to do that. And we'd go and hang out there and wait for somebody to come around and play, because this was before Facebook, before you had any type of way of really coordinating this sort of thing. So you just go and hang out and wait and hope somebody came along to play. And the one guy that we would often get to play with was this guy that we didn't know his name, like, but because we were for one thing, we were kids, and this guy was a grown adult. But we called him Space Wolves Joe, because he played Space Wolves, and with player place terrain and the way that deployment used to work, he would always do this thing where he'd have this whirlwind, and then he would put it behind line of sight blocking terrain in the corner, and so he would make it totally inaccessible, and then just like flick away at us from behind the safety of that impassable mountain or whatever that he put in the corner. It was just did that every single time. But we still had fun, right? Like we weren't playing to competitively or anything. Again, it was before we had any sense of that. So yeah, it's tough out there when there aren't game stores around you. And there's the part of me that always is like, well, is that a business opportunity? Could you open your own game store? But there's also, if there isn't a game store there now, I always wonder, maybe that's because there's just not enough demand, right? How many game stores open and fold within 5 years? I wonder which one there's more turnover in, the restaurant industry or the game industry. Probably restaurants, but my bet would be that there's probably a fair number of game stores that fold pretty fast too. Which is unfortunate, of course. I don't know. Does anybody have any stories about that? I can think of a few local stores that have gone under around here, and some of them I saw coming, and some of them I was surprised. Like if you go in somewhere and there's nobody there ever, that's not not a strong endorsement for the viability of the business, right? But you got to think that location is a huge part of that too, right? Like for game stores, my wife gets annoyed with me. We'll be driving around and I'll see a retail space for lease. I was like, I could put my game store there. That'd be a good spot for a game store. You know what? Perfect spot, game store right there. I'll be like looking up leasing information. It's like, oh, the lease is only this much. And she's like, stop it. You're not actually ever going to do that. And of course she's right. She's right about everything, but yeah. Yeah, I in my head, I think it'd be so fun to have a game store and be able to just do this, right? Like if I had a game store, right, like I could spend my day doing the channel, playing games. That seems like fun, but I don't think it would be ultimately rewarding as rewarding long term. And then take something that I love doing for me and turn it into work, right? Like I never want to be in a place where I'm forced to engage with a hobby, because that takes the good feels out of it, right? And you could say that the channel does that a little bit, but it's not like I have employees or anything like that, so I can. It's I think it's a lot different than owning a game store. And of course, game stores, their bread and butter has been Magic, right? And the way that Wizards is dealing with things, the way Hasbro's dealing with things, they're that I have genuine concerns about the viability of the friendly local game store business model with the way that Wizards of the Coast is handling Magic the Gathering. And it's crazy to think that one business, one product line could have that much of an influence on game stores. But every game store owner that I've ever talked to has just said how important that particular product is for getting people in the store, for keeping their bottom line going and everything like that. So yeah, that's concerning to me, and probably the number one reason I would never choose to open a game store, honestly, because I don't think you can do it. Games Workshop does it, but that's different, right? That's their product. I don't think you can long term run a game store that's just Games Workshop product, right? Unless you're Games Workshop. And I'm sure there are exceptions to that, right? Where there are probably plenty of people, a number of stores that do that, but I think those are the exceptions to the rule, probably, would be my guess, as someone that has been in this hobby for a long time. Right, yeah. Just a space to do stuff, and then the owner is just watching TV. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys ever watched the show How I Met Your Mother, right? Like how everybody wants to own a bar. Like that's a thing. Probably every kid in college has had a dream of owning their own bar. But of course, you don't actually want to do that, right? For a myriad of reasons. It's not as fun as it seems in your head. Stuff like that. Like you probably have to be a very particular type of person to do that. Tampa. Oh yeah, cool. JC, how big of a tournament? What's the deal with the tournament? So for people that are listening or watching, not seeing the chat, going to his first tournament in Tampa. Or I should say their first tournament. I don't know. One of the official like GW tournament circuit ones. I just know there aren't any that are close to me, so I have not paid I've not paid much attention to when, where, and how those events go. but it certainly would be cool. Like I miss when they used to do like the Chicago Games Day deal, because that would be something that I would. I mean, I guess Adepticon has largely taken its place, and we have just a much healthier event circuit than we did back then. But some of that is because Games Workshop bowed out. I guess for better or worse at this point, right? But I miss when they had like the old game, like Chicago Games Day, and they do a bunch of reveals and stuff there. Or not really. Not that many, right? Like old Games Workshop never was very transparent about what they were doing. But there were things like we talked about last week. Like the current Farsight model was seen at one of those types of things. And that was seen for years ahead of when the Finecast version came out. I remember, the new Good Guy Games Workshop totally threw a wrench in the whole business model of this website, Fate 212, and I used to check that website every single day, multiple times a day, to see to hear rumors and news about Games Workshop, because Games Workshop wouldn't tell you anything, right? There's no community website, nothing like that. So they wouldn't tell you anything, and so the only way to find out was through those like leaks. And that I even wrote some stuff for that website. I remember now, but yeah. Or I think there was like a community feed. Like some of my early videos were, kind of posted on there. But yeah, that website, it's still kicking. NAFCA, it's like the guy's username that runs it. It's still kicking, but it's it's just collating things that a lot of people already have access to in other means, which is unfortunate, right? Like, cool website, was a really nice pillar of the community for a while there, and then Games Workshop undermined that by doing something they should have been doing the whole time, right? Which would be communicating with their with their customers about what they're going to do. Does Washington State that you're considering, but I'm really new to 9th edition. Would you recommend a tournament for a mostly casual player? So it depends, right? It depends on what you like doing. If you are someone that like enjoys meeting new people, being in potentially potentially stressful situations in terms of like just dealing with time and stuff like that, go for it, right? And a lot of people at tournaments, if you tell them, hey, I'm new, I will need help, we'll be understanding. Right? I think most people are there in a mindset that, hey, we're here to have fun, and as long as you're respectful and not not going about things in a way that would suggest that you don't value their time or their patience, I think you're in a good spot. If you're someone that takes 6 hours to play a game, and that's the only way you're willing to play, then tournament's not for you, I would say, because tournaments are I don't know, maybe not 90%, but a big portion of the tournament experience is about time management. And so, if you're someone that can function in that environment, even if you're not, tip top, super sharp on the rules, that's okay. You should do some prep work ahead of time, though. If you've never been in a tournament before, one of the best things you can do to ensure that you and your opponents have a good time is to know your rules, right? Know how your army works. So you're, treat it like an exam in a course, right? Like, test yourself, study your codex, make sure you know the unit profiles, make sure you know the rules that you need to know in order to make your army function. And if you're not sure about something, look it up. Right? Be prepared. Make yourself a little cheat sheet that tells you, helps you out with the things that you get confused about. But yeah, those types of things about knowing your own army, knowing what you can do and what you can't do, is probably one of the best things you can do to ensure you have a good time. On top of that, things like bring lots of water, bring some Advil. I don't know. I always get a headache by the end of the day when I'm at a tournament, and it's because I'm bending over and have my heart rate going and probably drinking too much coffee or something. But that sort of thing generally catches up with me by the end of the day. So I need that. I need the Advil by the end of the day. Get sleep ahead of time. Don't drink too much during the day. Right? I'm sure everyone has heard stories about people at tournaments letting their beverages get away from them. And, that can certainly change your experience, let's say. Yeah, like one of the best. Yeah, if you have the choice between like a competitive event and a casual event, or they're generally called friendly events, do the friendly event, man. Like unless you're someone that's out there that's like really interested in doing and like trying to get to the top of the ITC rankings or something, friendly event. Just like the there's less pressure, which is nice, and just then everyone knows from the get-go that they understand that everybody's on the same, supposed to be on the same wavelength about what they're there to do. Now that said, I played in competitive environments, I played in friendly environments. Some of the friendliest, most welcoming people that I've ever played with have been in competitive events. And it's not like it's not because they like, I don't know how to say this right, but like in competitive events, those people that play in competitive events generally are people that are maybe a little bit more connected in the community, and so they oftentimes they have interest in maintaining those relationships, right, and adhering to that social contract. And so a lot of competitive players that I've played with have been just, really stand up people. Right. And, if I need help, if I have a question about something, it's not a big deal. If I mess up, it's not a big deal. Right. There's really, good sports about things. Because that's part of the deal in a competitive environment, right? Is that you're not going to have a good time if you get a reputation for not being a good sport. In friendly or casual events, I've had more issues with unsportsmanlike behavior because you get people that don't have that same investment in the community, and maybe they're in a friendly, they sign up for the friendly because they're trying to exploit people. Like, well, I'm going to go to this friendly thing, but I'm actually going to bring I'm going to be a try hard, and I think like going to the friendly event is like playing in the kiddie pool kind of thing, like type of deal. And that's unfortunate, that can lead to a bad experience for lots of people, including the person that is the perpetrator in that example. So I would say, go for the friendly event if you're more of a casual player, if you have the choice, because that's generally going to be the more relaxed environment. But keep that, but there's, you know, kind of that caveat of don't be afraid of competitive events, because competitive events often have some of the nicest, friendliest, best sportsmen people in them, right? I don't know. Yeah. I know. I'd be really curious to hear about what other people think about that. If I'm just totally out of it. I mean, I guess no matter where you go, you're gonna have friendly people and unfriendly people, right? You know, I think the unfriendly people get a lot more attention, right? But it's important to. I really want to, you know, highlight the friendly people too. You know, people that really make the game enjoyable are the types of folk that need more recognition. Yeah, I just really appreciate the kindness and you know, the stand up nature of a lot of folks in this hobby. Especially when you get into those people that are, you know, regular tournament people, regular community people, whether that's online or, you know, in your local game store. Those types of folks, I think, you know, those are the folks that make the hobby persist, and I personally really appreciate it. So if you're one of those folks, if you're like, hey, I feel like I'm that person, thank you. Thanks for being you. Um, oh yeah. Right, yeah, just kind of like open play. Yeah, where there's, you just go and you can, you know, have access to a table, but you're not actually in a tournament. Yeah, that type of thing is fun too. That kind of thing is more like at a, yeah, like a convention or whatever, right? Like Gen Con or whatever. Yeah, and that stuff is fun if you just want to, like, I don't know, I would never go to a convention just to like sit in the open play place, but if you want to go to the convention, um, and you know, for the experience, and you know, maybe, you know, meet some people you haven't seen in a while, or meet new people or whatever. If there's a vendor there that you're super into, then that's totally worth it, right? Because then you're kind of, it's value added. You get to go and play a game and do those other things. Yeah, like I've been to, when I lived in Indiana, I went to Gen Con a couple of times. Um, that was fun. Busy. If you could design a new town unit, what would it be? What would it look like, and how would it play? Oh, great question. So there's kind of two ways of going about this. I think, honestly, like one of the things that would be most fun for me from a play style aspect would just be XV15s with flamers. That I would love that if there was XV15s with flamers. That'd be fun. Um, but other options, of course, would be things like some different Kroot units, or I would really like to see like a Vespid, different types of Vespid too. You would, because Vespid, right, as a, you know, on Earth in real life, many insect species have a kind of what we call eusociality, which is the types of colony structure that we see in like bees and many types of bees. There are solitary bees and non-eusocial bees too, but you know, if you're thinking about like honeybees, for example. So honeybees or ants, where they have morphological divisions of labor. In the case of ants, at least. That sort of thing, I think, would be really cool to see reflected in the Vespid. And so having, you know, like a brood mother kind of unit, or you know, a more tanky Vespid. You know, there's concept art for Vespid originally where they were quadrupeds, I think. I don't think they had. I mean, they were quadrupeds, and then they had 2 arms. So I think they had six appendages because they, you know, are insects. But yeah, so they were quadrupeds. They looked much more like kind of like Tyrant Guard. And I think it'd be really cool to see something like that from the Vespid. And that could be a little bit more of like a brawler unit. That would also be kind of cool with like a flamer, like if they had a kind of a like a spitting ability. That's getting a little bit more Tyranidy. I think that's probably a reason why you wouldn't see that, was just for, you know, kind of division of concept, or, you know, identity, faction identity. But yeah, I would really like to see expansion of Kroot and Vespid. You know, there's, you know, you could always make the argument for bringing in additional auxiliaries, but I think I'd be disappointed if they brought in another race, like aside from Votan at this point, right? Demiurge, because that as a faction has a whole suite of models now that they could potentially, you know, allow for some sort of integration. But you know, if they brought in another auxiliary civilization, I'd be a little disappointed, because they have 2 really cool auxiliaries in the form of Kroot and Vespid that I think would really benefit from more attention. And you wouldn't have to I don't know, like, it just seems like that would be the path of least resistance for Games Workshop too. And the Vespid and Kroot already have, you know, people that are fans, myself included. Do you think the new Farsight model will start of a new battlesuit model? No. So I think the new Farsight model will just be like, I don't think it's going to be that divergent from what we have in the Enforcer already. I don't think it'll be too. I don't think it'll be too different, and I don't expect them to change anything about the Crisis Suit model, or introduce a new type of battle suit at all. I think Farsight's going to be his own thing, and that's how he is in the lore, right? Is that he has a highly personalized XV8. In the books, in the novels, he also at times uses a Cold Star, and his XV8 has the Cold Star AI in it too. But which is kind of fun. Like that's a fun component of the novels is that the like the suit has a personality too. And like the idea of drones having personalities too, right? You know, like gun drones are AI. And that was something I had never really thought about that until I read the novels about, you know, like these drones actually having some personality in terms of being individuals, not just a gun drone. Yeah, I saw that. You can take Farsight and a Crisis or Stealth Team, yeah, rather than or. Which yeah, just makes a lot more sense. All right, I'm gonna finish up this dude, and then I got to run. Meeting time. Yeah. I should probably have some lunch before I do that. But yeah, like I said, I will be doing this every week. Be doing a weekly hobby hangout. The unanimous feedback that I got, I think, from one person in the chat here was Fridays work better, which again makes total sense because this is happening on a Friday. So you're not going to say that I can't do Fridays. Probably. But yeah, so it'll probably be Fridays. It might be Thursdays. I don't know. Keep a watch on the page. I'll try to be putting the, you know, scheduling it out a couple days ahead of time so that you have that notification or whatever. And yeah, I'll keep working on the camera placement here, and we'll hopefully get something more interesting to look at for you than this kind of wide angle of my hobby table. Used to be my wife's like office desk, but then I got her a new desk, and so then I got this one, and yeah, I'm happy that I did that. That was kind of a win-win. Wait, where'd it go? Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. I forgot about this top part of the blaster. Yeah, at the the breachers for sure. I'll hold some up, and you can see that they are indeed brown and red. You can see what they look like. That's not a problem. Okay. Yeah, and I'm almost done with the red. I do want to. I probably am going to try this whole thing with painting their gloves the right. Okay, well that doesn't really work because it's too far away, and like the light. Part of the issue with being snowed in down here is I don't have any natural light coming in through the window. It's it's all snow. So yeah, I think, you know, and over here, right up here, it's all dark. You're not getting much. I don't know, does that? Oh, okay, that actually worked. Okay, cool. This webcam is much better than the one that I was using before. So cool. Yeah, you can kind of see, you get the gist of it, where they're at. They have a nice kind of zenithal brown shading on them that will really pop once we get some washes on there, and the red is all picked out. And I think I'm probably going to go back and do their gloves, just to see how it looks and to make things more dynamic. Instead of having like the arm just totally become this blob of a structure. So, or, you know, maybe I could do like, maybe their gloves should be black. No, the guns are black on the breachers. So I don't know, I got to think about it. Cool. Oh yeah, that would be cool if the boarding box was a new Farsight and then like a unit of they wouldn't do crisis suits, but they would do stealth suits probably, right? So which would just kind of be a little funky theme wise, but whatever. So cool. Thanks for hanging out with me, and as always, happy wargaming. Hopefully I'll see you next week.